Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, firefighters are responding to a report following new federal findings about the Robbins Lumber Mill fire and explosion. Plus, there have been multiple shark sightings off of the coast of Maine, one directly related to a Scarborough lifeguard. We'll explain coming up. And a couple is walking America and just passed through Maine. We'll bring you that story as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. Craig Colson is off for the day. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. And as always, we thank you for joining us. Now for the weather today, we may see some light rain this morning, but that should clear out and be a nice day today. Let's start off this morning by getting a first check of our forecast. Chase Ropanek joins us now.
Thank you very much. Your morning weather is brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote at 207-263-3421. All right, as you saw for this morning, temperatures hanging out in the low to mid 60s here in Bangor after a few showers and thunderstorms passed through the states overnight into this morning. You're looking at mid 60s in Millinocket, but still low 60s surrounding in the northern tier of the state. Same for the southwestern portion of the state as well. Throughout today, we will warm up back into the 80s, looking at low 80s here in Bangor as you head further north. A bit cooler for you with low to mid 70s throughout the northern tier of the state. But yes, we can see a few mid 80s down near Portland in the southwestern portion of the state as well. So for today, the only area that's really going to see that chance for thunderstorms is going to be in the northern tier of the state near Presque Isle. Isolated chances for showers and thunderstorms, nothing severe out there for today. There will be some breezy conditions. The rest of us will stay dry with plenty of sunshine, and we'll see some mostly clear skies heading into tonight, heading into another nice day for your Wednesday. So out there for today, here in Bangor, we should have no issues with storms out there, plenty of sunshine. There will be some breezy conditions, winds from the west-northwest, gusting near 25 miles per hour. But yes, those highs reaching to the low 80s this afternoon.
All right, thank you, Chase. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, in the wake of new federal findings regarding the fatal mill explosion in Searsmont, firefighters, especially those who were involved in that response, have a message. They're stressing that the focus should remain on educational takeaways and not placing blame. Our Grace Blanchard explains.
You can go from hero to zero in an instant. And that's what happened to us on Friday.
That's how Liberty Fire Chief Bill Gillespie said he and many other firefighters felt reading headlines after a federal report about the fatal Robbins Lumber fire suggested firefighter response played a role in unintentionally causing the silo explosion.
We were considered heroes for doing everything that we did, and then being blamed, potentially, or the statement saying that we contributed to this. We got to rebuild from that.
Gillespie, who is also the president of the Maine Fire Chiefs Association, said there was no clear indicator the silo that exploded was an oxygen-limiting structure.
The tactics that had always been in place when they've gone to fires at Robbins before was exactly the tactics that they used that morning. They were unaware that they were in a situation where they were causing potentially a catastrophic event.
Now is the time not to put blame on us or anybody or the company. It's let's make it better.
The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health conducts these reports as preventative teaching tools.
And not just in Searsmont, I'm talking nationwide. There's silos all over this country and with the same scenario.
Chief Gillespie said the Fire Chiefs Association is also partnering with state organizations to draft legislation that aims to prevent future silo catastrophes.
We don't know everything. We never preached that we know everything. But when no one else is going to come, they call us. And we show up, and we do the best we can.
In Liberty, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, there's also an update on the house fire that happened in Rockwood on Sunday night on Village Road. According to the Moosehead Lakeshore Journal, Rockwood Fire Rescue Chief Del Hume reported that the fire originated when a grill caught on fire in a semi-enclosed porch. One neighboring home sustained melted siding from the intense heat as well. A Rockwood firefighter was transported to the hospital from heat exhaustion, but was discharged yesterday. The Moosehead Lakeshore Journal also reported that the home is a total loss and the family dog is currently still missing. Belgrade man is facing charges after he allegedly fired a gun multiple times near a summer camp for children. 36-year-old Nathan Hewitt is charged with reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon, terrorizing, and criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon. A little after 7 p.m. on Friday, deputies from the Kennebec County Sheriff's Office responded to Camp Moden in Belgrade for a report of a man with a rifle shooting near the camp. Chief Deputy Chris Reed says that 2 men from a nearby residence, including Hewitt, had allegedly come to the camp complaining about something to do with a tractor. Reed says that they were met by security at the camp, who then called 911. The 2 men left, but Reed says that while the caller was still on the phone with dispatch, Hewitt allegedly started shooting a rifle from 389 Smithfield Road, which is next to the camp. When the deputy arrived, the camp was put into a lockdown because there were several staff members and several hundred kids there when that incident occurred. Reed says that the deputy allegedly saw Hewitt shooting a rifle about 20 times in various directions. He says deputies located a rifle and took several other weapons from the home after Hewitt was arrested. Well, the city of Bangor has been going through a sort of shakeup in their finance department, and that has left those in charge looking outside City Hall for help to keep the department running. Our Alex Schley shares more.
We are moving in a direction where we're going to overhaul the department.
In the meantime, the city is looking outside for help.
The ideas were to try to work with Maine Municipal Association or work within the city's own departments, particularly, as you mentioned, the airport.
This came as Bangor's finance department is without both a director and assistant director after both resigned. Last week, Bangor's finance director, Stephanie Kimball, resigned effective immediately. The city says her departure came in short succession after assistant finance director Linda Archer announced her own resignation. Kimball held the position for less than a year after signing a 3-year contract in September that paid $116,000 a year.
The city and Kimberly, we part on mutual terms, and we were very happy with the work that happened. And we both decided it was best for both of us to move on in different directions.
This is not the first time in recent memory the position has abruptly been vacated. Just over a year ago in May 2024, David Little also suddenly left the position after a year. Despite the change, Leonard says the city is moving in a positive direction.
I'm comfortable to say that we are better than where we were previously in 2024.
Bangor City Manager Carolyn Lear told ABC7 Fox 22 in an email in part, quote, with the sudden resignation of the city's finance director and other vacancies in that department, the city has reallocated other qualified staff to assist with the finance department operations until permanent staff are hired. Monday, Lear announced she named Bangor International Airport's financial manager, Jody Varney, as the city's interim finance director. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, in other news this morning, residents in Milo are seeing a major hike in their taxes. Some are seeing the jump so high they worry they may have to move. Our Calvin White shares more.
Citizens of Milo were aware their taxes would go up this summer, with the town announcing a property tax reassessment. The town hadn't done one in years, and the housing market is on the rise. But residents Geraldine Getz and Bill Joyce were never expecting the figures they saw on their latest bills.
But this shows up, and it's $5,310. What? And so I thought, I made a mistake. It's like,
how about it was a shock? My tax bill went up 130%.
In addition to the property reassessment, residents' taxes were also increased to cover a $1 million budget overage. The Milo Town office said that the reassessments were done in accordance to state regulations, but declined to comment on the additional taxes paying for the overage. The multi-million-dollar budget was focused on improving the town's fire department with a new truck and new facilities. But Milo residents are frustrated with what they call the town's overspending.
They got a lot of money for it. Apparently they didn't get enough, so they're gouging us now.
Residents worry the new taxes could lead to them no longer being able to afford their own homes.
I'll tell you how much it is, $1,700. And I only get $1,400 in Social Security.
I know one person who's already saying, oh my God, we have to sell our house.
A select board meeting is scheduled for August 12th at 6:30, where residents plan to make their voices heard on the new taxes. In Milo, Calvin White, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, a father is suing Palace Playland in Old Orchard Beach for negligence after his 10-year-old son was injured on a ride 4 years ago. The state later found out that the ride's operator likely did not secure a child properly. The lawsuit was filed just late last week, and its details show how seriously the board was hurt, as well as the concerns about the ride's overall safety. This all centers around the Superstar ride at Palace Playland, which dates back to the 1970s. The then 10-year-old boy fell off the ride not long after it was started and hit multiple times in the head by one of the carriers, leaving him with cuts and a broken nose. According to that lawsuit, the boy says that the safety bar was not locked in. He says he felt unsafe and tried to get off before the ride started. A state investigation later found that the operator likely didn't check and secure an aftermarket rope that was installed to keep the safety bar down. The family's attorney says that they now want to know what safety measures were in place and if anything has changed since.
I would hope that there was additional safety training. There should be. Rider safety on Palace Playland's website, guest safety, it's listed as a top priority. Those are the words that are used. We want to see what the actions are. We want to see what the actions have been since this happened. We want to understand what the actions were immediately before this happened, to see whether or not they were upholding their commitments to their customers.
Our media partner reached out to Palace Playland for comment on the lawsuit, but has not heard back. Amusement rides like this are supposed to be inspected by the state yearly, and the Superstar was found to be mechanically safe after that incident in 2022. Well, there have been more than a dozen shark sightings directly off of the coast of Maine, and that now includes a close encounter with a local lifeguard. That lifeguard was pulled underwater by a shark who grabbed the rescue buoy that was attached to his body. Brad Rogers has more from Scarborough State Park Beach, where it all unfolded.
It was frightening, I'm not going to deny that.
Lifeguard Greg Wilford and other lifeguards were swimming out on shark patrol when a shark pulled him underwater and dragged him by the strap of his rescue buoy.
I was pulled under about 5 feet, and I thought I was caught in the propeller of a boat, because that's the only thing I could think of until I realized there was no boat.
That's when he knew a shark had pulled him under.
And all I did is pull off the strap and get to the surface and swim as fast as I could in.
When he got back to shore, Wilford immediately ordered the closure of Scarborough Beach to all swimmers. He reopened it an hour later after drones were put in the air to search for sharks, along with 2 lifeguards on a wave runner.
The drones are flying every half hour. They're going up, and when they spot one, we send the jet ski over, and the sharks don't like the jet ski.
This beach is still on a red and yellow alert, meaning swimmers can only go waist deep, and it will stay that way until sharks are no longer in the area. Over the weekend, at least a dozen sharks, including great whites, were spotted off Pine Point, Scarborough Beach, and Higgins Beach.
Usually we'll see 1 or 2 here and there. This is a large volume, larger than I've seen, and I've worked this area for 30 plus years.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. Well, the time now is 8:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, we'll meet a Maine author who just published a summer read. We'll have the details ahead. But first, another look at our forecast. For today, partly cloudy skies with a chance of thunder showers, temperatures in the low 80s. Overnight tonight, mostly clear with temperatures in the upper 50s. And for tomorrow, partly cloudy skies as well with another chance of thunder showers, highs around 80. We'll be right back.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Some days start with busted belts and bruised knuckles. But out here, fixing things is just part of the ride. No matter what I'm doing, I have just the right tool close by. From the workshop to the ballpark, it's about making a difference where it counts. From fixing it right to living it fully. Coastal Auto Parts and Milwaukee Packout Systems help me get to the moments that matter most with the people that matter more.
At At Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Darling's Kia, we've got something for everyone. Shop our full lineup of new all-wheel drive, gas, EV, hybrid, or plug-in hybrid Kias. Plus, enjoy affordable lease programs and more incredible savings on award-winning Kias. And at Darling's Kia, your new vehicle is covered by our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. Shop Darling's Kia. You'll do better at Darling's.
There's never been a race like this. One weekend, one city. The Freedom 250 Grand Prix. 7 turns, 1.7 miles. Look at this crowd. Fans have turned out in a huge way. He has momentum now, past the capital. This is history in the making.
Mainers and tourists alike are soaking up summertime along Maine's coast. And what better way to enjoy this time of year than a good beach read? Our Jody Hersey sat down with a local author, Ellen Baker, whose latest release, Summerland Cove, captures 3 generations at their summertime cottage with a mystery on their hands.
Families do have secrets, and everybody has secrets, and everybody keeps things from people.
Lincoln County resident and Maine author Ellen Baker highlights the love, complexities, and secrets within families in her latest work of fiction called Summerland Cove.
It's a story about a family at their summer cottage and about what happens when they have the summer of a lifetime planned only to have everything go wrong.
Baker's novel follows 3 generations that reunite at the family cottage in Maine year after year.
So I have 25-year-old Haley who's about to get married. I have 48-year-old Lindy who's planning her husband's birthday party and all the events. And then 81-year-old Greta who is dealing with some difficult situations as she's aging and her husband is aging.
Baker said local readers will recognize several popular Maine locations within the story.
King Eider's Pub is in the book, Gelato Fiasco is in the book, Moody's Diner is in the book, so Mainers will definitely recognize some familiar and wonderful spots.
Summerland Cove is Baker's 4th novel and is available online and at several local bookstores. In Augusta, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, on that same topic, it's summertime, a great time to pursue outdoor challenges. One couple is doing this to broaden their own perspectives on the world. The Rouses are walking 12,000 miles across 50 states. They say that they are doing this in large sections. For their last stretch, they did the entire western seaboard from the Canadian border to the Mexican border. And this last stretch is slightly smaller as they are just walking across Maine. They say they're doing this to show them to themselves and show others that life is perspective.
We want to share just how malleable our perspectives are, and if we lean into that reality, just how much we can accomplish. The walk, of course, subjects you to all sorts of obstacles, the elements, the uncertainty of life on the road. You don't always know where you're going to sleep at night. You've got to figure out how to interact with all different kinds of people.
Just very interested in learning. We try to absorb as much as we can from as many places as we can.
Well, you can see that motto manifested on the back of their shirts, that red quote, "Change the inside, change the outside." He says if you work on yourself and become the best version of yourself, you can influence the world around you in a positive way. And by the way, they are funded by donations, so if you'd like to pitch in, you can head to their Facebook page, Walking America Couple. The time now is 8:19. After the break, rescue efforts are ongoing in Colombia after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit. We'll bring you the latest coming up. Plus, members of Down East Horizons gathered in Hancock to take a ride on the Down East Scenic Railroad. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
If you believe in a campaign that's honest...
Honest? Troy Jackson was accused of mortgage fraud for falsifying documents to get a low-interest loan. Jackson billed taxpayers for massive travel expenses, even though his house was only a few miles from the state capitol. Who approved his taxpayer-funded expenses? He did. And Jackson was known for bullying women. Troy Jackson, falsifying documents, ripping off taxpayers, and a bully we can't trust. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're gonna fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
Jado Highlands Golf Course, nestled in the woods of Lincoln, just a short drive from Bangor or Holton. Designed for players of all abilities, Jado features everything a golfer desires. 18 fully irrigated holes, driving range, practice green, and a golf shop with instruction available. Jado maintains quality course conditions while proudly displaying some of the most scenic views in Maine. Challenge yourself to a round of golf surrounded by the beauty of Maine at Jado Highlands Golf Course.
Hanks Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hanks Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
The staff of Down East Horizons offered a scenic train ride for children and adults with developmental disabilities. Our Sam Miller hopped on board and reports to us from the branch line.
Down East Horizons is providing service to people with disabilities and developmental issues since 1974. And on Monday, they took to the rails to help them create a memory that will last a lifetime. Nearly 140 children and adults with Down East Horizons gathered at Washington Junction in Hancock to take a ride aboard the Down East Scenic Railroad. The group chugged from Hancock to Ellsworth Falls and across the Union River Bridge along the Maine Central Railroad. The ride gives participants the opportunity to experience a part of railroad history in Maine while enjoying their time together. The executive director of Down East Horizons, Anthony Zambrano, described how grateful he is to be able to give the participants an unforgettable memory.
It's a nice, brief, wonderful, relaxing train ride, and a train is something that not a lot of people get to do. I'm just so blessed to be able to lead a company that affords these individuals to come visit us the opportunity to do this.
After the train turned around and coupled onto the back cars, the group made their way back.
It makes me feel great seeing everyone just happy and feeling included in the community.
Just the sound of the train and the blowing of the whistle and just the moving of the train. I love trains.
As the train came to a stop and everyone piled off, they were already excited to climb aboard next year. In Hancock, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, the time now is 8:23. Let's get a full look at our forecast. Meteorologist Chase Ropanek is in with the latest.
Thank you very much. Your main weather this morning is also brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote at 207-263-3421. All right, temperatures hanging out in the low to mid 60s this morning after a cold front passed through overnight. We still have a chance for a few more storms to get through for today. That's mainly in the northern tier of the states where your lows are in the low 60s in our Presque Isle and Holton. A lot of us hanging out in those low to mid 60s this morning. So as we get into today, temperatures will be right back near average. Average high 80 degrees, looking at 81 for today. Same for Wednesday and the Thursday, hanging out just near average. We'll have a bit of a cooler day Friday, mid 70s then, thanks to showers and thunderstorms. But it looks like we'll be right back near average into the weekend, a bit cooler into the beginning of the work week as well on Monday. So winds out there for today. Now that cold front has passed, we'll see winds gusting near 20 to 25 miles per hour out there this afternoon. Winds will lighten up a bit for tonight and stay pretty light into your Wednesday. There is a chance for a little bit more low pressure in the area. There'll definitely be low pressure passing to our south. We can see a few more storms possible, bringing some breezy conditions into Wednesday afternoon as well. But for today, the chance for storms staying in the northern tier of the state near the Millinocket region, the Presque Isle, over over near Clayton Lake as well. Again, those are isolated showers and thunderstorms. No big issue, though. They may chase you inside for about 10 to 20 minutes, but otherwise you'll be just fine. Plenty of sunshine for the rest of us for today. Clear skies tonight, but here we are for tomorrow. This is just one model run that shows this. There's plenty of others that can show that tomorrow could be a little bit more dry. But again, low pressure will be passing to the south. This will be a boundary in the area for tomorrow that can bring that chance for showers and thunderstorms, but also the storms may not fire also. So keep that in mind. We'll keep an eye on this for your Wednesday. There can be a few more storms possibly that continue into your Wednesday night, but otherwise, better chances for showers and thunderstorms Thursday and the Friday as that low pressure gets a bit closer. So for today, the only chance for a few storms are going to be staying to the north. Partly cloudy otherwise, highs in the low 80s. Winds a little bit breezy out there from the northwest, but clear skies tonight. Winds will lighten up. Lows will be back in the mid to upper 50s after a few nights in the 60s. So for tomorrow, the highs will be right back near average, near 80. We will have that chance for a few thunderstorms possible. Will they fire off that boundary? We'll have to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, partly cloudy with winds. Still a little breezy from the west, gusting near 25 miles per hour. So taking a look at your extended forecast, we do have slight chances for showers and thunderstorms today, mainly to the north, and that does exist for tomorrow as well, but better chances Thursday and the Friday as that low pressure gets closer. Highs near 80 Friday, they take a dip, near 80 Thursday, they take a dip Friday into the mid 70s. And here comes that high pressure Saturday, plenty of sunshine, highs back near 80 degrees.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
In the ICU, I've seen patients being bankrupted by the cost of care, and they're having to travel 3 and 4 hours to receive that care. This didn't just happen. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. Healthcare is getting even more expensive. People are losing coverage. Labor and delivery centers are closing. Hospitals are closing. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump. We can't afford it.
Your internet experience feels different, ultra reliable, lightning fast. With Fidium 100% fiber, everything you do online works exactly like it should.
Night, bud. Zach, go to bed.
So is cable internet still slowing you down? Enough already. Fiber up to Fidium. Get a 2 gig plan for only $65 a month at FidiumFiber.com.
Come home to the kitchen of your dreams. At Atlantic Designs, we redefine kitchen spaces, turning your dreams into reality. Our experienced designers ensure you get a stunning new kitchen while bringing function and style to every corner. Whether you're on a tight budget or ready to splurge, we've got the perfect plan for you. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. So contact Atlantic Designs today and start the process. Your dream kitchen awaits with the kitchen people at Atlantic Designs.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
Welcome back, everyone. President Trump and Health Secretary RFK Jr. are moving to upend the vaccine schedule for kids across the country. Medical experts are blasting the new executive order, saying it could put kids at danger. And the plans are likely to face legal challenges, too. ABC's Karen Watt is in Washington with more.
This morning, parents have conflicting guidance on which vaccines to give their children. In a new executive order, President Trump now recommends children get shots for 11 diseases, down from 18 as recommended by the CDC. The plan also includes splitting measles, mumps, and rubella into 3 separate shots instead of 1. Vaccine maker Merck warns this increases the number of injections for the individual and may result in delayed or missed immunizations. But Trump claims, without scientific evidence, the current combined vaccine could be linked to autism.
Together, there could be a possibility they're quite lethal, and separately, it looks like they are not at all lethal, but just very effective.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy pressed the president on this claim.
Is there any evidence of that?
What I've heard is that there are some people that say it is that way, And I say, well, let's say there's a 5% chance of it. Let's split it up.
The American Academy of Pediatrics is calling the president's changes dangerous, warning of the consequences if kids don't receive the same vaccines they're getting now.
Children are going to end up contracting diseases that they could otherwise avoid. Some percent of those are going to end up in an ICU, and some percent of those are going to die.
A member of the FDA Vaccine Advisory Committee notes the timing of these changes could not be worse.
This is happening when we've had the biggest measles epidemic in more than 30 years. We've had 3 people die of measles last year, including 2 healthy little girls in West Texas. You can't be more irresponsible than to cast doubt on a measles-containing vaccine right now.
Despite President Trump's new policy, states have the final say on required vaccines for children. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, meanwhile, more than 100 people have died in Colombia after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck the country. Fox News' Ted Linder has more on the search and rescue efforts going on and how the U.S. plans to help.
A frightening scene in Colombia Monday. People taking cover as a powerful quake rocked the western part of the country. Videos now revealing the devastation in Cali.
When the earthquake started, it was already very strong. It seemed like it was not going to end. Thank God we were fine when it ended, but it was really long and strong. Everything fell. Everything cracked open. In our building, water was falling over. When we came down, the building next to us was totally collapsed.
Colombia's president laying out his plan for the country's next steps.
The first thing is the rescue of the people trapped under the debris. This is the priority, to rescue the people trapped under rubble. This is a call for authorities in the states for all official reports of incidents to be relayed.
Search and rescue efforts are well underway. Army engineers seen here deploying to Cali, which is one of the hardest hit cities. Back in the States, aid is in the works as the U.S. State Department announces a helping hand. In a post to social media, the department said in part, quote, the Trump administration is committing $15.5 million in funding for emergency shelter, food, protection, and earthquake assessments. The earthquake caused major damage to several cities and also parts of neighboring Ecuador and Panama. And according to Colombia's Geological Service, this was the country's strongest earthquake recorded in the 21st century. I'm Ted Linder, Fox News.
New details about a secret mission to protect President Trump. It involved a secret flight out of Turkey, and it also reportedly required the president to hide inside an airport catering truck. ABC's Karen Waugh also has that report.
This morning, stunning details about an elaborate deception to protect President Trump from an Iranian threat. The Washington Post reports when the president departed the NATO summit in Turkey last month, the plane that the world watched him board took off without him.
It was a deft and smart national security decision.
According to the Washington Post, Trump boarded the older Air Force One in front of the cameras, waving from the stairs, and then slipped out a door on the other side of the plane into an airport catering truck, which then drove him to a smaller military jet. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reportedly flew with him, boarding separately to make the flight look routine. The New York Times, citing a senior U.S. official, confirmed the operation. It all came after a credible Iranian threat against the president, which he spoke about during the summit.
They want to take out the U.S. leader, me. I'm on every list.
The ruse was so complete, reporters on Air Force One had no idea the president was not on board. They were ordered to keep the window shades closed, and the plane's tracking systems were switched off.
It's a tactic and a protective methodology that's used particularly in combat situations or areas of hostility. And it really goes to the secret in the Secret Service, which is often when it does its best work.
Back in 2000, President Clinton secretly flew into Pakistan aboard an unmarked jet, while Air Force One flew as the distraction. In response to the Post story, the White House said there are many enemies of America with their sights on the president, and we use every tool at our disposal to address those threats. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll take a moment to remember Jackie the Eagle. This and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
I went to work in the woods after high school. The harder we worked, the more that the companies took from us. That's why we organized. We made them listen. People are doing everything they can right and still cannot get ahead. Susan Collins keeps telling us everything is just fine. Who has she served? She has served Donald Trump. She has served the billionaires. She has served herself. We are getting screwed, and I'm running to change that.
Government that works PAC's responsible for the content of this ad.
Thinking of buying a used car? Be on the alert for the potential for fraud with private vehicle sales. Knowing the signs of fraud and doing your research can help ensure you get a good deal and not swindled. Before handing over your hard-earned cash, thoroughly research the vehicle's history. And remember, if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
The U.S. experienced its hottest month ever back in July, and weather experts warned that human-caused climate change may only make temperatures surge higher going forward. Sizzling temperatures blanketed the U.S.'s lower 48 states last month, with averages reaching 76.89 degrees Fahrenheit. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, it's the hottest month America has experienced in nearly a century. While surging temperatures were felt across the U.S., the most excessive heat was found in the Mountain West, Southwest, Northern Plains, and Southeast. According to the NOAA, the largest driver of the record heat was nighttime lows, which surpassed the old mark for the highest minimus by 0.7 degrees. A number of scientists say that the burning of coal, oil, and gas is partially to blame for the widespread heat, citing how hotter nights are a classic sign of human-caused climate change. This, as rising nighttime temperatures can sometimes lead to sleep loss and even death in extreme cases.
The hottest summer prior to this past July was in 1936, the Dust Bowl year. And that was a crazy sort of situation where you put tens of millions of people in motion. You had this great migration because of the drought and the heat that hit the center of the U.S., just a cataclysmic event in U.S. history. If we're exceeding records from the Dust Bowl, that says that we're in deep trouble as far as, hey, this may be one of the coolest years we're going to experience for the rest of our lives.
Well, despite record-setting temperatures, the Trump administration has continued to support the production of fossil fuels, though experts warn that global warming may rise the baseline for setting extreme heat records. Well, now let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Chase Ropanek.
Thank you very much. Your morning weather is brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote at 207-263-3421. All right, as you saw for this morning, temperatures hanging out in the low to mid 60s here in Bangor after a few showers and thunderstorms passed through the states overnight into this morning. You're looking at mid 60s in Millinocket, but still low 60s surrounding in the northern tier of the state. Same for the southwestern portion of the state as well. Throughout today, we will warm up back into the 80s, looking at low 80s here in Bangor as you head further north. A bit cooler for you with low to mid 70s throughout the northern tier of the state. But yes, we can see a few mid 80s down near Portland in the southwestern portion of the state as well. So for today, the only area that's really going to see that chance for thunderstorms is going to be in the northern tier of the state near Presque Isle. Isolated chances for showers and thunderstorms, nothing severe out there for today. There will be some breezy conditions. The rest of us will stay dry with plenty of sunshine, and we'll see some mostly clear skies heading into tonight, heading into another nice day for your Wednesday. So out there for today, here in Bangor, we should have no issues with storms out there, plenty of sunshine. There will be some breezy conditions. Winds from the west-northwest, gusting near 25 miles per hour. But yes, those highs reach into the low 80s this afternoon.
All right, thanks, Chase. Well, now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Melissa Dawn.
The Jonas Brothers are about to be burning up your TV screens. On Friday, the trio's podcast, Hey Jonas, will begin streaming on Hulu and Disney+. The release coincides with the premiere of Camp Rock 3, which airs on Disney Channel this Thursday.
The last thing my mom said to me
is just play drums.
A documentary about Travis Barker also hits Disney streamers this week. Travis Barker, Louder Than Fear, explores the life of the Blink-182 drummer, from the loss of his mother at a young age to a music icon and a life-altering plane crash. This summer, Barker reflected on his journey.
I've seen traumatic experiences either destroy someone or define them. And I think with every loss I had or everything I took to the chin, it made me stronger.
Travis Barker, Louder Than Fear premieres Thursday, August 13th on Hulu and Disney+. Disney is the parent company of Hulu and ABC News.
Hey, it's your brother. We had a problem and it's led to some things.
We have our first teaser trailer for Paper Tiger. The new thriller follows two brothers, played by Adam Driver and Miles Teller, who find themselves involved with the Russian mafia. Paper Tiger comes to select theaters on November 13th. And happy birthday to Chris Hemsworth, who is 43 today. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports. Don't go away.
Many abused and neglected animals are hungry and need help right now. Many animals are starving, wondering if food will ever come, with the unbearable pain that comes with that, and they need our help.
There are animals that have no idea when their next meal will come. They can't even remember when their last meal was. And they are moments from dying.
So I'm here to ask you, will you open your heart to help an animal who's hungry? Go online, call, or simply scan this code and donate just $19 a month. You'll help feed a hungry animal. That's just 63 cents a day to fill their empty bowl and show them the love in your heart.
There are empty bowls that are sitting there waiting to be filled. You can tell that these dogs are so weak from hunger. They've known no other life but a life of suffering.
No animal should have to go hungry. And with your support today, you will help feed a hungry animal. You can fill their bowl, but you have to make your urgent life-saving gift today. So please join in the next 10 minutes. And if you do, we'll send you this free welcome kit to thank you for helping an animal today.
There's always an empty bowl on the ground that should have food in it. And it's very clear from the appearance of these dogs that that bowl hasn't had food in it for a long time.
We urgently need 3,000 new donors in the next 30 days. Please say you'll be one of them by signing up today. No animal should ever go hungry, and I know you agree. Please make this the moment that you say, I won't stand by while they suffer. Help fill their bowl too. Go online, call, or scan this code right now.
The New England Patriots open their 2026 preseason hosting the Indianapolis Colts this Thursday at 7:30, and you can watch it on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, folks. On Friday, the Maine football team held their first scrimmage of the preseason, and on Monday, they were back at it again. So we took I-95 north up to Orono to check in with the team once again. On Friday, Maine came out onto the field and did some individual work. Not on Monday, though. They went right into a real game scenario, 15-minute quarters in all. The defense looked awesome right away. On this play, the QB is going to try to extend the play, but Takai Chisholm chases him down for the would-be sack. No contact on the QBs in practice. We got to keep him safe out there. Here's another good play. Pass caught over the middle, but it's blown up right away by Jeremiah Harris. Next drive, a screen's going to go out to Nick Laughlin, and it's read perfectly by Jeremiah McKill. Really great defense there. Defense as a whole was great. The offense couldn't get anything going until this play. Handoff goes to Aiden Winter. Looks like he's going to get jammed up, but he breaks free and takes off all the way into the red zone. What a run by him, and that's going to set up this scoring play. Michael McMaw takes it in himself for the touchdown. Their season's coming up real soon, so excited for that. All right, let's check in with the Red Sox, who took on the Blue Jays coming off of a series loss to the A's, and folks, it was a weird one. We get almost no action until the 5th inning. That's when Charles McAdoo bombs this one into right field, and it's a homer to make it 1-0 Toronto. One inning later, the Blue Jays double that lead when this hit sends George Springer around the bases. Suddenly, it's 2-0, and this is where it gets weird. Top of the 7th, Cedane Rafaela hits this one up. It's caught, and the frame's over. Or is it? Watch this. The scoreboard in the building reads 2 outs, but there's only 1. Watch it change live coming up here, back to 1 out before it is eventually caught. And you know what? After 15 minutes and a call to New York later, they determined that it was only 1 out, and Anthony Siegler gets credited with a run to make it 2-1. So strange. Boston, however, could not climb out of this one. They fall 2-1. I've never seen anything like that in baseball or any other sport for that matter. While we're talking about the Sox, though, it's time to honor World Series champion Matt Barnes, who just announced his retirement from baseball over the weekend. Barnes had an 11-year career in the MLB, and on Sunday, he decided to hang up the jersey. The pitcher played his first 9 seasons with the Boston Red Sox. It was a big piece of that 2018 World Series run. In fact, his performance in the postseason that year was quite incredible. In 10 total innings, Barnes posted a 1.04 ERA, allowed just 1 run, and then finished with a 2-0 postseason record, including earning the victory in Game 1 of the World Series. Barnes moved on from Boston in 2023 and closed out his career with 1-year stints in Miami and Washington. We are just under a month away from the start of the NFL season, and this week, the Patriots locked down one of their top offensive weapons. That's right, Patriots tight end Hunter Henry put pen to paper on Monday and inked a 2-year extension worth a base value of $16 million. Now, that can go up all the way to $20 million with incentives. The pass-catching tight end was acquired by the Pats in 2021 after playing with the Los Angeles Chargers, and he played a big role in that Patriots run to the Super Bowl last year. Last year, Henry recorded 60 receptions for 768 yards, 7 touchdowns, and his total yardage might not show his true impact, but that's almost 13 yards per catch when you do the math. He is a quality downfield target who will get to and beyond the sticks. Additionally, he's a fantastic red zone threat. Again, 7 scores last season, 4 of them came from within the red zone. Drake May will have other pass-catching options like A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs this year, but re-signing the veteran tight end was a great move and a crucial one for the offense. I'm still hung up about the Bills not getting him. I'm a Bills fan. I wanted him back in 2021. Lastly, folks, if you're in the Portland area, you may want to attend the Sea Dogs game on Wednesday. The Sea Dogs announced on Monday that the first 1,000 fans to come through the gates for Wednesday's game versus the Binghamton Rumble Ponies will receive an exclusive Cooper Flag bobblehead. Now, the bobblehead is, of course, Cooper Flag, but he is wearing a Maine uniform with his iconic number 32 on it. The gates will open at 4:30 p.m., so if you're a Flag fan in the area with nothing to do, you may want to stop by on Wednesday. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. Just reminding you that whatever day of the week you get hurt, we're your go-to lawyers. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
Hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular Infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
Disturbing news about threats of violence against women. Is it Graham Plattner again? No, it's Troy Jackson. When a female legislator disagreed with Jackson, he threw a water bottle at her in anger. The woman was deeply frightened. Jackson was known for bullying, and his screaming felt like intentional intimidation. His brash conduct with women raised alarm bells about his temperament. Troy Jackson, another phony we can't trust. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers Central and Eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and daughters turn scrap into cash.
I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line. Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. It is now a bittersweet moment in the cycle of life, especially in the animal world. Jackie, the famous Big Bear bald eagle, the wind beneath so many of her followers' wings, has passed away at the age of 14 after a brave health battle.
This morning, people are remembering the matriarch of perhaps the most famous eagle family in the world. Over the past few years, Jackie, Shadow, and their annually expanding family have attracted millions through the live cameras run by a nonprofit called Friends of Big Bear Valley. But Monday morning, Friends of Big Bear Valley and the Ohio Raptor Center shared that after weeks of undergoing treatment for an illness, Jackie has died at the age of 14.
It's been a tough day. It's been hard for our team. Lots of tears, lots of memories.
Late last night, I spoke with Jenny Voisart, a spokesperson for Friends of Big Bear Valley, who says their website nearly crashed yesterday with all the outpouring of love for Jackie. Since early 2025, the birth of eaglets like Sunny and Gizmo has led to a huge wave of attention being brought to Jackie and Shadow's home in California.
I put up some flyers around some different businesses.
So earlier this year, when the Eagles' hunting ground was under threat to be turned into luxury homes by a developer, schools like John Baldwin Elementary started helping to raise the necessary $10 million by July 31st to save that land.
It will never be developed on. And we were only able to do that by the sheer power and love of all the people that watch Jackie and Shadow and care about them.
But Jenny said she can't help but think right now of the founder of the live cam, Sandy Steers, who passed away earlier this year. Sandy had been following Jackie since she was born almost a decade and a half ago. And here's what she told me last March about what it was like seeing Jackie and Shadow soar to worldwide fame.
What I'm most thrilled about is people connecting with nature.
Of course, Jenny says she keeps getting asked what Shadow is going to do. And as she told me, nesting season is not usually until late fall. So we won't really know if this 12-year-old is going to move on and where for quite a while. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Well, now here's meteorologist Chase Ropeneck with our full weather forecast.
Thank you very much. Your main weather this morning is also brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stopped ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote at 207-263-3421. All right, temperatures hanging out in the low to mid 60s this morning after a cold front passed through overnight. We still have a chance for a few more storms to get through for today. That's mainly in the northern tier of the states where your lows are in the low 60s in our Presque Isle and Holton. A lot of us hanging out in those low to mid 60s this morning. So as we get into today, temperatures will be right back near average. Average high 80 degrees, looking at 81 for today. Same for Wednesday and the Thursday, hanging out just near average. We'll have a bit of a cooler day Friday, mid 70s then, thanks to showers and thunderstorms. But it looks like we'll be right back near average into the weekend, a bit cooler into the beginning of the work week as well on Monday. So winds out there for today. Now that cold front has passed, we'll see winds gusting near 20 to 25 miles per hour out there this afternoon. Winds will lighten up a bit for tonight and stay pretty light into your Wednesday. There is a chance for a little bit more low pressure in the area. There'll definitely be low pressure passing to our south. We can see a few more storms possible, bringing some breezy conditions into Wednesday afternoon as well. But for today, the chance for storms staying in the northern tier of the state near the Millinocket region, the Presque Isle, over near Clayton Lake as well. Again, those are isolated showers and thunderstorms. No big issue, though. They may chase you inside for about 10 to 20 minutes, but otherwise you'll be just fine. Plenty of sunshine for the rest of us for today. Clear skies tonight, but here we are for tomorrow. This is just one model run that shows this. There's plenty of others that can show that tomorrow could be a little bit more dry, but again, low pressure will be passing to the south. This will be a boundary in the area for tomorrow that can bring that chance for showers and thunderstorms, but also the storms may not fire also. So keep that in mind. We'll keep an eye on this for your Wednesday. There can be a few more storms possibly that continue into your Wednesday night, but otherwise, well, better chances for showers and thunderstorms Thursday into Friday as that low pressure gets a bit closer. So for today, the only chance for a few storms are going to be staying to the north. Partly cloudy otherwise, highs in the low 80s. Winds a little bit breezy out there from the northwest, but clear skies tonight. Winds will lighten up. Lows will be back in the mid to upper 50s after a few nights in the 60s. So for for tomorrow. Highs will be right back near average, near 80. We will have that chance for a few thunderstorms possible. Will they fire off that boundary? We'll have to keep an eye on that. It's otherwise partly cloudy with winds. Still a little breezy from the west, gusting near 25 miles per hour. So taking a look at your extended forecast, we do have slight chances for showers and thunderstorms today, mainly to the north, and that does exist for tomorrow as well, but better chances Thursday and the Friday as that low pressure gets closer. Highs near 80 Friday. They take a dip, near 80 Thursday. They take a dip Friday into the mid-70s. And here comes that high pressure Saturday. Plenty of sunshine, highs back near 80 degrees.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
30 years living that Washington, D.C. lifestyle. That'll change a person. Getting rich from insider stock trading should be illegal. But Susan Collins doesn't think so. Susan Collins wants to keep it so senators can play the stock market, make millions of dollars doing that. Why we struggle to pay for gas, groceries, health insurance, the basics. For them to get all that money, why we're paying more, it's not right. It's not right. Tell Susan Collins to stop this congressional stock trade.
This is the sofa America's waited 250 years for. Bob's Playday Sectional, made from 100% American ambition. It's not content being just a sofa. Pop-up sleeper, ample storage, USB ports, bookshelf, even a drop-down table with cup holders.
Because nothing's more American than a sofa with more horsepower than a pickup truck.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
You hand me a trash panda.
That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it! 25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Now to a new discovery under the sea. New video shows the discovery of an ancient shipwreck off the coast of Sicily. The wreckage, believed to be more than 2,000 years old, was discovered by Italian divers about 150 feet underwater. Italy's Minister of Culture calls the breakthrough, quote, one of the most important underwater discoveries of recent years. Archaeologists say it could provide a rare snapshot of the Roman-era trade dating back to the 1st and 2nd centuries. Meanwhile, the SPCA in Monmouth County, New Jersey, responds to a call about a snake in a backyard. The 8-feet-long Burmese python ended up getting stuck under a shed. A contractor removed the shed's floorboards, and an animal control officer was able to remove the snake. X-ray showed that the reptile had eaten a large possum. The SPCA says that the Burmese python is not native to that area and that releasing exotic pets into the wild harms the animal, local wildlife, and domestic pets. The organization says if a person can no longer care for a reptile, to reach out to a local rescue or shelter. Well, 2 people have just finished the hike of a lifetime. 10-year-old Liam Holland and his father Dola set out on the Appalachian Trail on February 13th and ended at the top of Katahdin on August 4th. They covered more than 2,000 miles in 172 days. The two say that it was an incredible experience.
When I get older, like when I graduate high school, I doubt I'm going to go on another experience like this with my dad.
We took advantage of it while we could. You know, we don't know what ever comes in, what will happen in life, whether we could do it later in life. So we really just decided, let's just do it now.
Well, both say they just kept walking in good weather and in bad weather. They say it feels really good for them to finally reach their goal. Congratulations to both of them. A group of mama bears were spotted having a play date with their cubs in Russia's Far East. The bears were seen fishing at Curl Lake, part of the South Sanctuary. When water levels in the lake drop, mothers bring out their 6-month-old cubs to the area to fish for sockeye salmon. Pretty cool thing to see for sure. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everyone.